Kay, Managing Director of Silicon Valley Robotics and the organizer of Robot Launch. From over 60 entries from all around the world, our judges have narrowed it down to 6 very strong finalists. And today, some of our judges have joined us live to hear our finalists make an expanded 5-minute pitch, and we'll find out who is the ultimate winner. It's challenging because the pitches are being done online with a range of different presentation formats from a range of locations around the world. So even the biggest tech conference has technical hitches, Microsoft. But we'll be keeping our fingers crossed. And if the live hangout does tech fail, we'll still be live tweeting. So follow at RoboHub to keep informed. And of course the results will be published on robohub.org. Now this competition has been launched by RoboHub and Silicon Valley Robotics. RoboHub is the non-profit global robotics news site, and Silicon Valley Robotics is a non-profit robotics industry group here in the Bay Area of California. While Silicon Valley is renowned for startups, which is backed up by a massive 9 entries in this competition, which is twice the number of any other country. We're also delighted to see robotics flourishing everywhere, with entries from 19 different countries in all. Now, I'd like to introduce the judges, and as we're at WilmerHale in Palo Alto, I'll start with Glenn Lunenberg, who is a partner here. Glenn champions robotics startups as an area of emerging interest for WilmerHale, and hosted the recent Silicon Valley Robot Block Party. Glenn brings a wealth of experience to the panel from representing companies like Dash Robotics, Empire Robotics, Tesla, and venture capital firms. Now, Kate Drain is the hardware category lead at Indiegogo, the crowdfunding platform. Kate is responsible for all aspects of business growth for the platform's design and technology categories, and has led many companies, including Misfit Wearables, Scanadu, and Canonical, to secure funding on Indiegogo. Her background includes starting a beer canning company.
A lot of hardware there.
There is. All robots need beer. Cyril Eversweiler is a venture partner at SOS Ventures and the founder of Accelerator, the premier hardware accelerator based in San Francisco and Shenzhen, and now also China Accelerator and Leap Accelerator. Cyril also mentors at Techstars and 500 startups. Cyril is a prolific investor who has invested in startups on every continent, which is perfect for this competition. Roger Chen is with OATV, O'Reilly Alphatech Ventures. OATV was an early investor in consumer hardware with devices like Chumby, Misfit Wearables, and Littlebits. And their portfolio now includes companies like 3D Robotics. Roger's background is in electrical engineering. And Shaheen Farshi is a principal at Lux Capital, focusing on investments in energy and technology, including robotics companies like Sci-Fi Works. Shaheen's background is in electrical engineering and includes positions at General Motors and several Silicon Valley startups. Now, as well as their time judging, each of our judges has offered personal mentoring to selected startups from the Robot Launch series. We'll be announcing all the awards after the pitches, while the judges make their final deliberations. And I'd also like to thank all the rest of our judges. Every startup received feedback from our judging pool. We had 25 industry expert and investor judges, some of whom personally evaluated every single startup. And thanks to WilmerHale, Bosch Ventures, Revolution Capital, Cosma Ventures, OATV, Lux Capital, Lemnos Labs, Vision Robotics, Accelerator, Luxa, and Indiegogo for your awards and support. And thanks also to our tireless hidden crew from RoboHub and Silicon Valley Robotics, Ali, Michael, and Sabine, who are doing all of the back-end organizing. And now we're going to start the pitches. And the first startup, we're going to leap ahead, and our first presenter will be Cameron Venancio from TANDEMECH Engineering. I'm going to start with a video from Cameron, and then we'll go over to Cameron in person. to mute me. Speak now for a sec. Okay, it's taking us a little while to switch between each of the sources, and I understand that on the broadcast you're not necessarily hearing the sound from the video, but the judges can see and hear, and that's the primary thing at the moment. We're trying to get Cameron up to continue your pitch. To select talk. Right, we've discovered that a number of the Hangout participants have disconnected in the last broadcast. So we're looking at you, but you're not actually, we can't transfer to you. So I'm just going to ask Vivek, Farhad, Cameron, and Ann to reconnect to the Hangout, and we'll get back to Cameron ideally. So Cameron, please just disconnect and reconnect. We only have Steve and Ladislas who are actually showing as live. Everyone else is showing as we can see you, we just can't talk to you. Now, at this point, I should be playing the video, but I think we've already seen it. So, after Cameron Venancio from TANDEMECH Engineering, we will go to Ladislas Ditoldi from Leica in France, and then we will try to get back to Farhad from Robosoft Systems in India. Cameron, you're good.
Muted at the moment.
All right, I think I'm good to go now.
Okay.
So our robot is a little bit different and special in that we use air power, and the fact that we use pneumatics gives us kind of a big competition over a lot of magnetic climbers that are on the market. They're really prevalent in oil and gas for industrial inspections, and the fact that we use air power allows us to work on concrete, glass, composites, and many more types of surfaces. There's so many different applications for this type of robot, but we're using it for industrial inspections because that's where we can make the biggest impact the fastest. We can avoid all of the time, cost, and dangers of setting up scaffolding to do these inspections, or prevent people doing rope access and dangling potentially hundreds of feet into the air to inspect offshore wind turbines or dam faces and things like that. So I'd like to maybe turn it over for questions from the judges. And is there anything that I can answer for you?
Unmute us. Okay, so Cameron, just so you know, we're going to have to do this in series, not in parallel, right? So please ask the questions, and then we'll bring him back on, because otherwise we get this echo effect, and unfortunately we don't have the right technology to solve that at the moment. So Cameron, I think, can hear us. So please, where are we going to start?
Maybe I can start. Great presentation. Oh wait, which way do I have to look? This way? Great presentation and question. So regarding customers, are these customers engineering firms, or are they individuals who build the wind turbines? Help me understand who you've engaged with and under what kind of terms they're interested in kind of leasing the robots.
Sure. So we have two distinct different groups of customers. The first are the owners of the dams, like PG&E, for example. These companies have large enough infrastructure that they want their own in-house inspection services. The second is going to be third-party inspectors. These are companies like Mistras and Acuren. They are contracted out by companies across the globe, like ConocoPhillips, to do inspections. So they would receive a contract to inspect maybe a smokestack, and they would come out, construct the scaffolding, deploy the personnel, and then do the appropriate inspections. So we have talked to both groups. We have handfuls of these potential customers lined up for on-site demonstrations once we finish our second prototype.
All right.
Hi, Cameron. Great presentation. I had one question. So this seems like for me, this is more of I wouldn't have ever thought that this would be something to solve. So what inspired you to create this company?
Good question. We actually built this as a prototype for an aerospace manufacturing contractor. It was designed to kind of circumnavigate the fuselage of a Boeing aircraft during the construction stages, and it was meant as a proof of concept for a larger machine that would carry a drill, a rivet machine, and potentially other inspection equipment as well, to help kind of automate the process of fuselage splicing. So this is another application for a robot down the road, but the path to development for aerospace would be much longer, maybe something like 5 to 7 years, and it would spend a lot of time in a research lab with Boeing.
Wheeler from Accelerator.
Hey Cameron, could you tell me where you guys are at in terms of prototyping? How many tests have been conducted outside, and when are you taking it to market and how?
Sure. We are, right now we have the proof of concept. We're working on a second version that's a little bit more robust and is able to work on concrete. So right now the one that you saw cannot function on concrete, but we're in development for that right now. And we're looking at a second version at the end of the calendar year this year. So once that happens, we'll go out to the facilities that I mentioned before and do on-site demonstrations with them. And at that point, we'll start placing orders with these companies that have already expressed a lot of interest, and then hopefully go into a production run. We would like to do sort of a limited production run, so that way we can flush out any potential bugs, but that's sort of our go-to-market at the moment.
Roger Chen.
Yeah, great job. I just had one quick question about what are some of the sort of safety expectations that you think you have to achieve or meet before this becomes deployed on-site or potentially even in public spaces in the future?
Sure, absolutely. Safety is a huge issue. First of all, anything over 20 feet, I want to say, OSHA requires a fall arrest device, which basically just means a safety cable. But that being said, safety is maybe the number one priority here. This thing falling off is the absolute worst case scenario. So what we've done is we've taken big steps over our competition. We kind of compartmentalize our vacuum chambers. So that way, if there's a leak, it's contained and it's not able to spread. Then that works for real-world situations like cracks, holes, spalling concrete. So that way we can lose 30 to 40% of our vacuum cells and not fall off and have that catastrophic failure. One other feature that's built into this robot is that once it starts to hit that critical area where it may be in danger, the wheels will actually lift off the ground, so it will stop moving completely, but it'll stay exactly where it's at, where it can still grip and it won't fall off.
How long do we have?
Sorry?
How long do we have?
We have one more minute for questions if there are more questions. Sure. Or that could be reserved for tech snafus.
I got one.
All right, go for it.
So
what's your current cost of goods, and what will be the final price of the robot, or what's your pricing scheme?
We're looking at around a $50,000 price point for the robot based off of competitive precedent of other robots in the field, as well as some of the value we provide. And the cost of materials and assembly, we're looking at somewhere in the range of $10,000 per unit. So that's a 70% margin.
we have just enough time for one more question, if anyone wants elaboration on anything that Cameron had said. I think Cameron, you've covered the questions and the answers very well. So thank you very much. Ladislas, you're going to be the next presenter from Ladislas Ditoldi from Laker in France, but it will take me a minute to get your video up because.
So please bear with us, and indeed we will not be able to do, as anyone who's online will have seen, the audio is not coming through on our videos, so please bear with us while we play the video. and then we can go through to the live questions.
Unfortunately, this is just a pain.
Is there a problem? Hello, do you hear us?
Okay, so we're just going to mute our side, so you can do your piece, and then we'll open up questions after that.
Can you hear me? Yeah, okay, great. So I'm Ladislas, this is Marine, and here is Matthew, our business developer. And we are really, really happy to be here with you today. And we have made some slides to make sure the project is very clear for you. Maybe we can switch over to the slides I sent you, Indra. That's all right. Maybe I can start and we get the slide later, so it's okay. So autism is a behavior, communication, and social interaction disorder. Children with autism have a hard time understanding the rules of the world they live in. The basic cause of autism is genetic, and it causes oversensory stimulation, and they have a hard time understanding and processing all this information. So autism, children with autism have repetitive behaviors, have a hard time looking at people in the eye, sometimes they hurt themselves because they try to get out of the world of the overstimulation they feel. When we started the project, we immediately went to talk with the parents and carers and special educators, and to make sure our product would suit their needs. So from the first source of need is the children. They want to be sensory stimulated, to work on the motor and intellectual abilities, and communication and socialization. Parents want to communicate and understand and follow the progress of their parents, and finally carers are looking for tools to play and teach things to the children. So that's why we created Moti. So Moti is a spherical whirring robot that you saw in the video. It's currently based on Arduino, but we are working on a more robust prototype right now. The idea is to push autistic children to learn essential social skills using Moti as an interface with their surroundings. So you can have autonomous play. The child just plays with the robot like any other toy, but Moti is very sensory stimulating. You can use it as a reinforcer. A reinforcer is what you use when you try to teach the child new skills. When he succeeds in the exercise, you give him a reinforcer to show him that what he did was good. And finally, we will have in a short future applications, just like on an iPad, with different things that the child will be able to do with the robots, like games, like touch me where I'm red, or shake me 3 times, or stuff like that. So this is a picture of Hugo playing with Moti. That's when we did our test in a special education school. But what we really want to do with Moti is gather all the data of all the Motis in the world and make them available for parents, researchers, and doctors, because we think that getting the interaction data of the child and the robot can be very interesting to understand and discover patterns. The funny thing is that leka in Swedish means to play and to heal, and we think that's exactly what we are trying to do here, helping exceptional children live a normal life through robotics and play. So yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for your attention. I can't hear you.
Okay, so we have now transitioned over to asking questions. But this again is going to be piece by piece. All right, let me just bring this around here.
Hey, this is Sarah from Hackcelerator. I'm curious about the age of the kids and children or teenager that is in your target market, and how does the age influences the behavior of the product and whatnot.
So guys, sorry about this. We just had a small challenge while we run through some technical issues, but obviously the audio is still working.
Do you hear me now?
Okay, we're just going to turn your audio back on. My apologies for the delay.
It gets too.
Is it working? 1, 2, 3. Do you hear me? Yes. Okay. Great. So the question was, what is the age of the children playing with a robot? And I was saying that the age is not very important because it's the psychological age that's important for autistic children, which means that 18 years old child can play just like a 3-year-old child. What we've shown with our test is that low-functioning autistic children, very handicapped children, really love the robot because of the sensory stimulation, whereas the high-functioning, high-level autism, the robot was too simple for them at the moment. They asked a lot of questions like how is it working, why is it doing such things, and stuff like that. So it's, for the moment, the robot is very well suited for low functioning autism due to the sensory stimulations. But you can use a robot from any age, from 1 year old to 20 years old. That's not a problem.
Over to you. Then Shaheen is queued.
Hi. I was wondering, what is your plan to go to market? And who's the target market? Who you'll go after first?
Sorry about this. We need to try again.
Yeah. Yes. Good. Okay. Great. So the market. So our target. We target parents and special education schools and associations, foundations, hospitals. So we are B2C and B2B. We don't make any distinctions because we want the robot. We want the children to be able to play with the robot at home and in the special education school and have the same robot, and have like a continuity between the house and between the special education school. Our time to market, we want to sell our first robots in January 2016. Yes, 2016. And we are planning a crowdfunding campaign in March 2015. That's a little more than 6 months from now, just before the industrialization and production. We want to test the market and make sure that people will buy our product. And we want to do it from US, because the market in France is very small. It's a niche market, and in France you don't have more than 160,000 children with autism. And we really think that it's not, we can use the product everywhere. So starting from the US will make us worldwide, and we think that's a good idea.
Your question?
So my question was the same, really. I mean, if you're going after different markets, it seems like there's a kind of consumer-focused market somewhat. There's the enterprise and the healthcare. So I mean, I guess the foundations would be somewhat enterprisey. The healthcare kind of avenue is obviously very different. I mean, have you thought about your strategy for going after these three very different markets and how you plan to kind of allocate your scarce resources towards going after each?
We want to make Moti a medical device, but it will take time, and we want to start as a toy. And being a toy, parents can just buy it from our online store or from Amazon. That's not a problem. For the special education schools, it's a little different because they don't have a lot of money, but they can make exceptional expenses. So you have to make a dossier and make sure that it will be accepted. So it takes a little more time, but we are very well intended in France now. We have a lot of contacts with different special education schools, with different associations, stuff like that. So in the US, we're not really here now. We want to target first the parents, and in France, we will start with the parents and the special education school. Both will make the product be accepted a little faster.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ladislas. That's all the questions we have time for now. And we will be calling on Fahad from Robosoft Systems in India next, although Fahad has been dropping out of the call a little bit. Thanks, Ladislas. Thanks, Maureen. And that was a wonderful presentation from Leica. Fahad, I see you're back online. I have to try to find your video and just let everybody know that the video is actually silent. So
you can talk over the top of it.
Okay.
So perhaps, were you aiming to talk over the top of your video?
No, you can watch the video and then you can ask me questions later. So there are two videos. One is a demo video and one is a
We
picture.
also have a full presentation from Fahad with narration, but he wanted us to start with the video here.
Okay, so is he talking at the top of this or not?
No.
Okay.
There is a following presentation that has him speaking. This had music, which we're not actually. Sorry. over to us.
Okay,
for
so
questions.
Fahad, if you want to speak.
Yeah, there's a second video you can watch, which was there in the contest, 2 minute speech. The speaker from mic loop.
Fahad, we're not getting any audio from you at the moment, so we're going to play your second video.
Yeah. There's a voiceover behind the video, in the video. I can't hear it.
Well, if you
So
can
unplug for a second.
Hi Fahad, we just listened to your videos, both of the videos, and if you'd like to say a little bit more to add to the videos, then we'll go straight to the judges. We have not a lot of time left for questions.
We can go to the judges for the questions, or if they have any questions.
Okay, Cyril, you had a question?
Sure. Hey guys, as far as I understand, this is not an autonomous solution. It's remote control, right? And what will it take to have it autonomous? Does it matter or not?
It does not matter to be autonomous. It is mostly manual. If it's a long pipe, then you need autonomous control. But these ducts are short in length, and the design changes from building to building. So the best way is to use a PS2 to control them manually. And depending on how dirty the duct is, you need to put more effort in one direction. So you need that manual intervention to kind of put more time in that place as compared to other places. So for now, to keep the cost low, we use PSO remote and kind of use it as a manual control robot.
Over to you, Roger.
Yeah, I just had a question about what you envision your product being. Is it you sell the robot, or is this something where you use these duct bots to clean out these ducts, and it becomes more of a service thing where it's something that's used once every so often, and it's more valuable as a business for you to pursue offering service as a product as opposed to robots? Have you done that kind of analysis, and where do you think you come out on top?
Okay, back.
The voice is breaking. Can you hear me? Can you repeat the question? I missed a lot of the parts.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, good job. I just had a question about what you envision your product or offering being, because do you see yourself selling robots, or do you see yourself selling a service here? Just because I imagine that these duct bots might be used maybe only once in a while to clean out these ducts. So does it become more valuable to you to sell these duct bots as individual products, or does it become more valuable to you to sell these services, like cleaning out these ducts, for example?
So for now, we are selling these robots individually to people who are providing services. So it is difficult for us to kind of maintain a team and kind of provide services across the city or across the country. So it's easier for us to have a small team and sell these robots to people who have a large team and kind of maintain are into facility management. So if we just go into cleaning ducts, it won't be economical for us to kind of maintain a team. But if we are managing an entire facility, duct cleaning would be a part of that service. So we would right now just sell the duct to the guys who are maintaining these facilities or maintaining air conditioning system across the country and across the globe, and keep the team very small. So the burn rate is very low.
That's great. Thank you, Fahad. I'll just see if there's one last question, and then we'll wrap up, and we'll be moving on to distributed organisms. If you're online, if you're not online, please. Yeah, you're good. Was there one last question for Fahad?
There was one online as well.
A question online?
There's a question online which was from other members of the robot. That basically is asking whether this is should be considered a standalone robot sale or it's robots as a service.
That's, I believe, the question you just
answered. Okay. Pardon me, okay, I couldn't hear. Okay.
Yes, I think that might have been tweeting out the question as it went.
Good.
So that's great, Fahad. Thank you very much for the presentation. We're going to try to bear with me a minute while I get the video for DoBots up.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. You're connected. We're about to have these sound issues, so we're going to let you chat for a minute and let us know what you'd like to play.
Hi, Arne. I don't think it's possible for me to get the video you just sent over in time. So we've had a good look at the cleaning robots and the introductory video. I think it would be great now that you're back online if you talk directly to us about what you're doing. Over to you.
Hello, yeah, so I hope there are the slides somewhere available also on the screen, but I will just briefly talk you through it. We are a small company in Holland, the Netherlands. We have been working on not so much the hardware of a robot, but especially the software. So we call this the autopilot. And we didn't pick something like self-driving cars, but the cleaning industry. The cleaning industry in Europe is estimated to be around 22 billion euros for only the floor cleaning and only labor work. We are already talking with manufacturers, cleaning machine manufacturers, to offer them indeed like an autopilot, like I described before. We can send several movies about how the autopilot works exactly, navigates around. Tries to, if a human is, for example, in front of it, it tries to not only prevent a collision, but goes around it and continues its task. What we would like to have from, out of this conversation a little bit, is especially your network connections. We already are talking with a lot of people in the manufacturing world, but we really would appreciate additional contacts. We are also planning on several pilots. Pilot this year of 100,000 euros for adapting a machine. We have several subsequently for the next years. We will have larger pilots for really co-development with the machine manufacturers of 400,000 euros each. Co-financing of the 100,000 ones are not that we can do ourselves, but the 400,000 ones we could really help get help from a VC there. So this is in summary what we are doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Arne. That was a really good summary, and we did have a good look at the videos. I think it's a perfect time to see if the judges have questions around any of the points that you've just raised. Roger Chen.
Yeah. Just a question about the product, actually. So I saw the map earlier as the robot was traversing around. So I was curious, is that you built up the map ahead of time so that it's built within the robot, the path that it needs to traverse, and whether or not there's any sensors or whatnot built into the robot so that it can sense how the environment might have changed. How are you technically implementing this?
We have feedback again. I'll just recap. The question from Roger was, how are you technically implementing navigation and your understanding of environmental change?
Yes. We use the sensors from the entertainment industry, or actually variants on those. So you all know the Kinect, that kind of sensors. They used to be, like laser scanners used to be 15,000 euros. They now dropped tremendously to 150 euros. This is why we can do this type of work. An autopilot we would like to provide for only 1,000 euros. If we tell this to machine manufacturers, they're like, that really will change, disrupt the market. How we subsequently want to earn money with that is by asking service contracts for 100 euro a month. The actual implementations of the navigation and localization software using the 3D depth and visual data We at times use a map beforehand. That's possible, but it's not obligated. You can really use the robot to build up a map, but that's a more sophisticated feature, of course.
And now back, Cyril. Over to you, Cyril.
Hey, I was curious about what could the robot perform. As far as I understand, there are several ways to clean things up, from a sweeper and whatnot. So could you describe what task it's able to do?
Yeah, so the robot itself, we currently used is a scrubber, so-called scrubber dryer. You can also have indeed sweeping robots. However, our autopilot is a software solution, so we can build it on whatever robot is available. And we, of course, make it such that, for example, the IMU, etc., is able to cope with vibrations, for example, of the machine.
Thank you, Anne. Are there more questions? Shaheen.
So just out of curiosity, the business model again, you're talking about making the autopilot available for others to license, and then perhaps sell a robot. Is that what I understand? Is that correct?
So what is the business plan? Licensing, selling the robot? Over to you, Anne.
So the autopilot is hardware, so we don't want to make a lot of money using the hardware. We want to make it as simple or as cheap as possible. What we want to have in the end is a service that, like you have currently maintenance services that cost like 50 euros a month, that we can additionally add 100 euros a month to make your cleaning machine into an entire robot. So then it can do navigation, it can have status reports about maintenance, it can localize itself, those machines get lost. You can add all those kind of services in one software package. That is really where we in the end want to earn money.
So it does sound like it's retrofitting. Just ask for that to be clarified.
Well, I think good job. That's what it is. Okay.
Okay, and I think we're pretty much out of time there. So you've answered the judges' questions, and we'll be going over to Vivek Mano from Odd.io, and Odd.io is in Oregon in the USA, and it will take me just a moment again to find the materials for you. Vivek? Hey Vivek, that was a great presentations, and I certainly can feel the pain point that you're addressing with this. But I know it's a notoriously difficult task that you're setting yourself, and I'm sure the judges are going to have some questions for you there. Is there anything that you want to add before I throw back to the judges for questions?
Okay. Nope, I'm just glad that the video is able to come through. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, great. Nope, well, we'll go to the Q&A.
First question from Kate Drain from Indiegogo.
Hi, great presentation. I was just wondering, what is the price point?
The price point that we're toying around with right now is $200 retail, and that's mainly due to some of the competitors that we're out there facing, especially from Play AI robots.
Could you repeat that? What we need to do
just
is
give us a couple of seconds after we swap over to you so that the audio catches up. So can you repeat that answer again, please, Vivek?
The price point will be $200.
That's perfect. Good timing on that one too. You came in just at the right time. Now, are there some more questions here? Cyril.
Could you just describe what's inside of it?
Over to you, Vivek.
Sure thing. Right now, I'm just running an Atmel 328 with the Arduino bootloader. It's got an H-bridge, and the sound decoding are actually a series of DT MF chips that typically use in phone systems over to a microphone. So the inputs are a microphone going to the DTMF chips, and then the output would be Arduino to the motor driver.
I have some more. Sorry.
Okay, back to Cyril.
Could you describe a little bit of the experience that it is to play an instrument at the same time as expecting to have an answer from a robot? I've seen you're talking about programming as well a little, so there's a lot of things going on. And also, what are the main instruments that kids are playing and that you think are well suited for playing with the robot?
I'll go. I'll try to answer all the questions. I'll try to answer all the questions that I heard. Let me know if I missed any. As far as instruments go, right now I've learned that wood instruments perform best with the robot. And so with the classes I'm working with, both the recorder and the tin whistle are preferred because they're low-cost instruments for large classes. I'm hoping for future versions to be able to accommodate piano and guitar and ukulele as well. As far as the experience with children playing the instrument and seeing immediate feedback, I think the biggest reaction is that they get excited when they see that properly playing a note has created a real-life movement in something. So apart from a robot waving an arm or moving something, it's physically moving on the ground for them. And to get that feedback and understand that controlling the length of the note or how the note's played affects movement, I'd say so far it's been pretty powerful with children. I think the final question you asked about programming. On the programming side of things, I'm using the term a little broad, I would say, because in the first mode, what I'm calling just a regular autoplay mode, the note has a one-to-one reaction with a movement. So as I play a note, the robot moves. But in the second mode, or programming mode, what the robot is actually doing is queuing up the notes that it hears, and then finally one of the notes is an execute or an enter key, and then it goes through the pre-programmed motions that you've played with a note. And I think that's a little bit more important for children to start to learn and memorize sequences, which for me, especially with the maze that I put down for kids, is the basics of understanding pseudocode and programming.
Okay, that was excellent, Vivek. I think you've answered all the questions that the judges have, and that is in really good time. We'll be able to throw over to the final presentation, which is Steve Glovsky from Robotics Technologies of Tennessee. And I have a video from Steve that will run for about 5 minutes. So we'll go to the video and then back for face-to-face Q&A. So
Thanks, Vivek.
thank you very much, Vivek.
Thank you.
Should we up or down? You can bang on the door. Hey, can we clean the room? Yeah, come on in. Yeah, it's our robot builders. You just want to tell them to keep it down. They want a conference call for 15 minutes. Oh. Okay, can you hear us? We can't hear you at the moment.
Video. I've just
Okay, say it again.
I think we had you in the background as well as playing your video. So I'm going to switch back over to playing the video with the narration and then come over to you. And we were just trying to keep everybody else quiet while we played the video. Thanks.
Hey, we're on. We should be good to go.
Good.
Hey, thank you, Steve. That was great. And now I think we're over to you live, not pre-recorded. So if you'd like to add anything, or you can throw it straight back to the judges for questions.
We just want to thank everybody.
Give us a couple of seconds each time to swap all the audio and video over. So over to you.
We just want to thank everybody for allowing us to be part of this competition, and these are just great robot technologies, and we were just excited to see the prior presentations, and we'll throw it back to the judges.
Steve, now we have a question from Shaheen.
So do I have to, do you have to switch again?
No.
Switching? Okay, so Steve, great presentation, interesting technology and business. Question, how long have you guys been in business? How much funding have you raised to date? And where are you right now in terms of revenues and kind of proximity to profitability?
Back to you, Steve, in 1, 2.
Yeah, great questions. So we've been at it, the development team has been at it for over 10 years, Jamie.
Correct.
And the company has been around for about 6 or 7 years now, 7 years actually. And we've in terms of revenue, we're tracking sort of roughly at about $300,000 a year, and that's between grant money and sales. So far, we've been primarily focused on proving out technologies actually in the field, and we found that's actually critical, and it takes anywhere from 12 to 24 months to vet a technology and have it properly qualified. And what I mean by that is if you're doing welding on, for example, sort of naval ships, it's got to be vetted, it's got to be approved, and it's got to meet military specifications, and that's a pretty long process. So we really haven't ramped up our sales yet. That's sort of one of the reasons we're here, is to raise, start that process of raising funds to really ramp up our sales.
Roger?
Hey, yeah, that was really cool. Just one question about, I think you made a really good point about augmentation. So how do you see this playing out in terms of how do you train the workforce to work with these things, and how do you appropriately design them to augment humans in a user-friendly but also safe way?
Back to
Great question. I think a couple of ways to answer that. First, it's probably fundamental that we understand something, and we'll use welding as an example. Welding is very hard work. It's hot. It puts the welders in positions where they're very contorted, and when they're actually welding, we call that arc on time, meaning they actually have a torch on product. And oftentimes they only have arc on times maybe 15 to 25% of the time, and the rest of the time involves breaks and repositioning to get on the product. Our systems allow these welders to really double that in many cases. So that's in some ways how we consider that augmentation is increasing the productivity. In terms of how we train the workforce, a lot of our interfaces and control systems resemble the kinds of automated systems that are currently out there, much more inferior to what we have, but they do resemble existing technologies in the field. And then it's always good to remember that welders are behind masks, they're already in sort of odd positions, and so we're giving them alternatives that are oftentimes comparable. But in many, but you are right. We do have to train workers on how to use it, and I'll let Jamie just answer that very quickly because we do training sessions in what 3 to 4 hours. And
right. So we have spent a lot of time working with actual operators really to make sure our systems are easy to pick up, easy to learn. And so yes, our training sessions really are a matter of guys that are familiar with welding, and if they've even seen a hint of mechanization in the past, it's a 5-minute training period. If they've seen no mechanization before, then it could be up to a 15-minute training period. So yes, our sessions really are only a matter of a couple hours.
great answer. And Cyril, did you
Sure.
have a question?
Yeah. Just in the lines of Roger's question, what kind of pushback you had from your potential customers so far? And could you describe your sales cycle and how long does it take to get there?
Back over to you, Steve.
Yeah, in terms of pushback and cycle times, in terms of sales cycles, those are great questions. So first of all, in terms of pushback, we've really, I think, been embraced as what we would call the next generation technology. One of the ways to think about it is what we've seen up to now are technologies that often involve track systems with you put a carriage or a welding apparatus onto tracks, and then you're running these tracks across product. Think of it as sort of a choo-choo train environment. They can be in clamshell forms or they can be straight track. We sort of have created the cars of this industry, and we're trying to introduce cars into this world of sort of choo-choo trains. And just one other thing, so in that sense, that's how we're sort of changing things. So the pushback is we're embraced, but we're different. And so the fact that we're different, it always takes a little bit of time to get people to come over to our technology. The industry likes to set up in parallel sort of production lines or do tests between people that use the current methodologies and people that would use our methodologies. So one of our challenges is to raise enough money that we have the ability to basically go to customer sites and run in parallel sort of production lines or test lines to demonstrate that their people can be trained and do have the ability to run our systems in a much more productive manner than the way they're currently doing it. And we've got lots of back orders of requests to go out and do demos and stuff like that.
Great answer, Steve. Do we have any more questions, or did that actually cover? Yeah.
Oh, I just say.
Yeah, I think you did some comprehensive answers there, and I for one am actually really looking forward to seeing you showcasing at the Solid conference, and both Robotics Technologies of Tennessee and TANDEMECH Engineering will be showcasing at the Solid Conference, which is Wednesday and Thursday in San Francisco. And I would suggest at this point, do you want to throw to me in the Hangout, take down the general webcam, and this is the time at which the judges make their final deliberation. Because we only have a single microphone in this room, unless you want the deliberations to be public while I read out the preliminary awards, I might ask you guys to just step outside. You have 10 minutes to make your final deliberations and come back in. And if you come back in earlier, that would actually be great because I don't actually have 10 minutes worth of things to say. So if you can make your deliberations in 5 minutes and be back, that would be absolutely brilliant. And while the judges are coming to their final decisions on the ultimate winner, I can announce some of the other awards for the rest of the series. All of the semi-finalists were eligible to win some of the awards, like the RoboHub Reader's Favourite. And we thought that the quality of the startups was really fantastic. So we ended up, we had to create an additional award category, which was the startups to watch, as well as our 6 finalists, of course. So the startups we nominated as ones to watch are Gimbal, Jessico, Sproutel, AvidBots, Jamster, 3 Degrees of Freedom Robotics, Cloudy Robotics, Plug and Wear, Robotar, and Mighty Mount. And I know that those startups span the globe, from 3 Degrees of Freedom Robotics in Australia to Plug and Wear in Europe, with and ditto Jessico and Gimbal, Sproutel and Robotar and Mighty Mount are from the US, and Cloudy Robotics and AvidBots are from Canada. So there is a really good global representation in the startups to watch, as well as in the finalists. Now, if you missed their videos from the RoboHub readers voting, I do recommend having a closer look at them. And of course, we'll be posting all of the results to RoboHub with links to the startups. Now, voting for the reader's favourite closed at the start of the finals, and we've tallied the votes. The winner of the RoboHub award receives $500, and while some startups like ASOI and Inf Robotics and Robotar were very popular, the ultimate RoboHub favourite is Jessico Robot Fish. And the Solid Showcase Award goes to 3 startups who are showcasing some really visually exciting robotics: Robotics Technologies of Tennessee, TANDEMECH Engineering, and Robotar. If you're in San Francisco, come along to the Solid Conference tomorrow and Thursday to see these 3 startups and the showreels of our other great startups. There's also an amazing speaker lineup at the conference, including office hours with some of our judges like Cyril Ebersweiler. And I'll also be giving a short presentation on Robots Are the New Black. The award for Leanest Startup was sponsored by Luxor, who build online workshops that help founders get to where they need to go without wasting time and burning cash. 3 of our highest scoring startups, with less than 1K a 7-week course to greatness, helping you make a great product most efficiently with your limited time and resources. These 3 startups have already done a lot with very, very little, so we figure they deserve a reward. And the winners of the leanest startup are Odd.io, TANDEMECH Engineering, and Robosoft Systems. Now, the Crowd Pleaser Award was decided by Indiegogo, and it's for startups who want to do crowdfunding, and will give them the opportunity to have personal mentoring from Kate Drain, the hardware category lead at Indiegogo, and a 50% discount on a crowdfunding campaign with Indiegogo. And the Crowd Pleaser Award goes to Odd.io. And we're getting close to the end of the awards. The Best European Startup received the highest scores in our judging round, and we'll have one-on-one mentoring with Revolution Capital in Paris, or they will come and visit you, and that might be the case because the winner is Distributed Organisms, DoBots, from the Netherlands. So Revolution Capital will be bringing you to Paris or coming to visit you in the Netherlands. And I'm going to pause for a minute, so if you can mute.
Who's on? Everyone's kind of gone somewhat dead, haven't they? We can't hear. Can't hear.
Finish their deliberations, so I'm going to go back and recap, and I do have one more award to mention. So I did say that the Best European Startup received the highest scores in the judging rounds, and we'll have one-on-one mentoring with Revolution Capital in Paris, where they'll come to visit, and that winner was Distributed Organisms, or DoBots, from the Netherlands. I am sure that all of the startups in the finals will be getting lots of calls from various judges. We have the Crowd Pleaser Award from Indiegogo, which goes to the startup with the most potential for an amazing crowdfunding campaign, and will receive 50% off their campaign plus personal mentoring from Indiegogo. And the winner of that is Odd.io. And Kate has actually sent me a message to say she is really keen to talk to all of the startups that were in the finals who were interested in crowdfunding campaigns. So I think she'd also like to talk to Lika about that. And if you were planning a crowdfunding campaign, you just let me know again, because Kate is very keen to talk to all of you. But the winner of the Crowd Pleaser Award goes to Odd.io. And the Wilma Hale Award will receive legal advice and free startup services, which is something that every startup needs. The winner of the Wilma Hale Award is TANDEMECH Engineering, and I look forward to introducing you to Glenn Lunenberg, the partner at Wilma Hale, who will be championing you through the process of growing your startup. And we really only have one more award to award, and that's the ultimate winner, the grand champion. And the champion will have interviews and design reviews and mentoring from people like Rich Mahoney, the director of robotics at SRI International, Jan Westerhuis from Bosch Ventures, Sven Stroband from Kostler Ventures, Jeremy Conrad from Lemnos Labs, Valerie Komisarova from Bushin Robotics, and the judges here at the finals as well, of course. But mainly, as the ultimate champion, you get the glory, and the Robbie. And the beauty of the Robbie is that your robot looks great in comparison. So whenever times are tough, you look at your Robbie and you go, we're doing better. But I'm really just trying to fill in time while we wait for the judges to come back. So the final things that I have to say are just thank you. Thank you to everyone who participated. I have been really, we're all been so excited. The judges have been excited. They have put in a heap of work, far more than I expected, judging 60 startups and giving them the amount of attention that each startup got and providing them with custom feedback. We had a lot of judges looking at the startups and really thinking hard about what issues you were going to face, where things could be improved, and trying to share some of the experience that they'd gained along the way or that they've seen in mentoring other startups through the process, and really trying to feed that back to you as early as possible to try and help everybody through the process as quickly and as smoothly as you can, because growing a startup is the hardest thing in the world. And I think one of our judges, Roger from OATV, said, you know, I'm on the other side of the fence because I'm not brave enough to be doing what you guys are doing. So it's hats off to all of the startups. We've been delighted and excited by 60 incredible startups, and in many ways you could have all had something to show us in the finals, and that's why we're delighted to be able to showcase more broadly a lot of the exciting robotics that's happening. And so to partner with RoboHub, to be able to put startups online, to be able to get you some additional publicity, and who knows what stage you're at, whether you're trying to find co-founders or additional team members, whether you're looking to attract advisors, whether you're trying to attract funding, financing, or whether you're trying to build up your materials as you go to customers. We figure that being able to give you additional publicity at this stage can help you through the next parts of the process. So we're really excited about the future of robotics across a whole range of verticals. And that was the other significantly exciting thing. I talked a lot about how the startups were spread across the world, and that was very exciting. I mean, for a second there this year, it looked like it might have been the year of the robot, but then Google bought everybody. And I was a little bit dismayed in some respects. And then we started this competition and realized that robotics was alive and well, and it was far from limited to small robot systems. So many of the entries covered a range of applications, from industrial robotics to professional service robotics. And although we had fewer in the finals, we had a number of robotics that were working in the health sector in professional service robotics. We had robotics that were talking about logistics, about materials handling. And of course the consumer sector, where we had robotics in education and in health. And it was just great to see such a range of verticals. We're sending messengers out to get the judges back, because it's really time to announce who the winners of the awards are. And of course, the competition recap is going to be on robohub.org, and we're really looking forward to the next competition. So in the meantime, keep up with all the robotics news and views on RoboHub. And I should mention, we've just launched a partner site, which again is something that we really hope will help not just startups, but robotics professionals everywhere. And it's robojobs.org, where we're compiling robotics jobs. If you've got a robotics job, you can post it to the website for a very, very reasonable fee. And of course, we're charging money to support the non-profit activities of robohub.org. And it's free to post your resumes to robojobs.org. We're already building a really, we're already receiving great feedback from some of the robotics professionals who've posted their resumes to the site and have been receiving job offers. in their emails, and we're trying to curate the best of the robotics jobs, because we know that RoboHub readers are, by and large, really great robotics professionals. So we want to combine the best robotics professionals and the best robotics jobs, and at the same time try and support the activities of RoboHub, which is a non-profit organization. And of course, if you're in the Silicon Valley area, then Silicon Valley Robotics forms a great communications network, event organizing, networking industry group. So we do all sorts of things, from casual get-togethers like beer and bots and beer. We're having a bots and beer meeting tomorrow night, actually, just after the Solid conference. And that's a monthly event that's just casual, just a lot of fun. It gives everyone in the Bay Area who's interested in robotics or engaged in robotics a chance to come along to a meetup and hang out. But we also do a lot more higher profile and more serious events. We have a quarterly investor forum, and we also host the annual Robot Block Party, which is one of the largest events in showcasing the whole range of robotics, from commercial robotics to research robotics. And you know, I post a lot about the Robot Block Party. It's one of the signature events for National Robotics Week in the US, and that happens every April, in the second week of April. And it would be really great if you could drag the judges back in.
I'll go to it. All right, should we just pause the audio and video for a little while?
We'll keep everyone on tenterhooks.
Actually, if you do audio and video just on yours, and you can talk with people and have a discussion with everyone, just unmute everyone, and I'll unmute you on your device rather than using the.
This might work. This might not. Okay. We've just taken off the judge microphone and speakers, and we're going to see if I can talk to everybody in the Hangout now. And if
unmute yourself, because I can't unmute you.
Okay. I'm just doing myself.
Thank you.
No, it says you're on YouTube.
Oh, really?
We've got feedback.
Good.
Okay.
You may need to. Actually, I can't see whether people are muted or not. So if you want to try unmuting people, that would be great.
Okay, so we're gonna try and talk in the interim. We've had a lot of different video, audio setups that we've been swapping between, so it's been quite the challenge. Now, if I can, I'll throw over to you, Vivek, because you've just taken home a couple of the awards so far. You're the crowd pleaser, and I believe you also were one of the Loom startups. Can you?
I can't really hear you.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
I missed the first part of what you said, Andrew, but I'm excited. I'm very excited to get working on this idea with Indiegogo and to pursue the crowdfunding platform and go after a really solid campaign.
It sounds great, and I do know Ladislas Kate said that she would be really happy to talk to you as well. She was when you said that you were interested in a crowdfunding campaign.
Yes. Yes, we really are. What do you want to know?
Okay, and moving on, the winner of the Best European Startup, that's Anne with Dubots.
Hi, yeah, it's nice.
And you have personal interview, or else they'll be bringing you to Paris.
Ah, that's great. That's really great.
It's a Paris, Tennessee.
I know it was actually. I know it was actually quite tight in the scoring, but cumulatively, you were the European startup with the highest score from the judges. And it was wonderful to have two very strong European startups in the final 6. we couldn't plan for global representation, and yet that's what happened, which was wonderful. If I can just, Fahad,
Yeah.
I know you've won one of the lean startup packages as somebody who's come a terribly long way on very, very little funds, as did Odd.io and TANDEMECH Engineering. How does that feel, Fahad?
It feels nice to win an award, because after seeing so many startups I thought that it would be difficult to win an award in such a great startup in the competition. So I'm pretty glad that we won some award.
It's wonderful. And now the judges are back. I'm going to, let's see if we can switch. Okay. Oops, that's my speakers rather than my mic. Hey, well, we've given out all the other awards. Do we have the final, the ultimate champion?
So should I walk through all the companies or just talk this again?
However you please, Shane.
So I think, speaking on behalf of all the judges, I think all of the teams were very impressive. Robotics Technologies of Tennessee, you guys have been at it for a long time. Obviously made very good progress. Seems like you're going to make a big impact in areas relating to industrial manufacturing, oil and gas. So really cool stuff. TANDEMECH Engineering, you guys are kind of a newer kid on the block in a similar space, doing the inspection stuff. Really cool. You guys seem to have a long road ahead, but I'm sure if you choose to stay at it and overcome the obstacles that are ahead of you, you can be the basis of a pretty exciting inspection. Really cool, really interesting stuff. I personally have allergies and would love it if my apartment had a duck bot inside, kind of keep me dust free, and I wouldn't have to wake up with a runny nose and a swollen face. LECA, we really like sort of the application of the technology for helping people that are probably the most in need. Really liked how the product was pretty much almost ready for market and make a big impact today for children with autism, and that's why we agreed to on LECA being the winner of this competition.
Wow. So the winner of the competition and the Robbie is Leica from France.
Thank you very much.
And of course, Robotics Technologies of Tennessee and TANDEMECH Engineering will be showcasing at Solid as part of the Solid conference. So I think that's going to be a fantastic exposure there as well. And we're also looking forward, Odd.io, to getting you, if not just on the Kickstart, or on the Indiegogo campaign, but to having you come to Silicon Valley sometime. I'd like to thank everybody and say goodbye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.